All right, everybody. So we're here today with John Kerecz.
Hi there, how's everybody doing? I'm glad you have me here, Jeff. It's been a long time. I think we said it's been like, what, 15 or 16 years since last time I was up here?
Yeah, 15 years, almost to the month, because I know that, because my last puppy, Star, was just a baby. And that was 15 to the month almost.
And I have to admit it was my fault because I've just gotten, what do they say, life happens. I was taking care of my parents. My dad was sick, then he died. Then I took care of my mom for 3 years. Now I take care of my sister, and I had some health issues too. And I kind of ignored you, but didn't really mean to. I was just too busy with life, and just getting through life is rough sometimes. Plus trying to do your other things, you know.
For anybody out there that's younger, if you're under like the age of 50, I got news for you. If you think the world and things are tough now, you will find out for certain that things are going to they're going to go downhill from there.
I told somebody I was coming up here to interview you, and they're like, "Oh, well, your girlfriend must be pretty understanding." And I'm like, "Of what?" "Well, you know, you're two music guys, you know, rock and roll, going up there in the woods, and who knows what you're doing." I said, "The most we're doing is maybe petting a dog.
Yeah.
We just don't have the energy for any of that, nor do we want to anymore. It's just not denying that we ever did want to. But yeah, I mean, it's funny the impression people have, though. But they think because you're into music that you're up to all kinds of things, and we're not. I don't think we're ever up to as much exciting stuff as they think we are.
No, it's not like it was back in the 80s and early 90s where, you know, it was just party, sex, and music, and that's just what it was. But those days are long gone.
And that was when we were by ourselves, that it was party, sex,
Yeah.
and drinking. No. But plus we had bands, we don't have, it's not like we pay roadies. I don't know if you have any money to pay roadies, but when you're with a band that you do, like when I was with Seventh Layer, and then before that I was with the Stony Creek Band, and we did all our moving equipment and stuff ourselves, so you don't have time to be getting into trouble. The people that follow you, they get into trouble, and they say, "Oh, the wild lifestyle," and it's like, you look at them like, what wild lifestyle? It's like, what, loading equipment, unloading equipment, the days that you sleep in weird motels or even sleep in your car or on we'd even stop at rest stops and sleep on top of the benches and picnic tables.
Yep.
You know, but I'm sorry, you got some questions for me, Jeff?
No, we're good here. Hey, so we'd like to let everybody out there know where you're from.
I'm originally I'm from the Lehigh Valley, born in Bethlehem, lived in Allentown. But I've lived in Harrisburg, the Harrisburg, Pennsylvania area since '82. Moved out there to finish college, got a job, got married, had kids. Haven't left there yet. I'm retired now though, and so that's my base is still out of Harrisburg. Although in the days of some of the clubs that were happening in Allentown, I was still going to Allentown on and off. But the scene has changed. There's a lot of places that were out there that I'm sure we all played at that don't exist anymore. And some of the places that still want people only want acoustic acts or smaller acts that can pay less money to. And it's a lot different. So I kind of right now hail from outside of Harrisburg, and originally came from the Lehigh Valley.
Yeah, things were not like they were even like 5 years ago. A lot of clubs closed. And it was lots of different reasons. Like DUI road poles was a major.
I think that was a big thing.
That was about a 50% silver bullet in the music business right there. And then when COVID hit, whatever was left got ran over by that.
Well, I will say about COVID gave them an excuse to do a lot of things they were thinking about beforehand.
Yep.
I talked to a lot of bars, clubs, and even gyms.
It was the easy way out.
That were talking about closing early and not being open as late. And when COVID hit, boom, they had an excuse to do it, I hate to say. And I remember the time that you'd be hanging out at a bar till after 3. As long as you weren't drinking, you'd get your drinks at the last minute. You'd be sitting there talking as long as the workers were still there. If they knew you,
Yep.
you didn't have to rush. But these days, you'd never do that.
No.
They're not even open till that late.
No.
They're locked their doors at 11:30.
11:30, 12 o'clock. They try to get people out of there.
I didn't used to go out sometimes till 10, 11.
Yeah. So, what are your biggest influences musically?
Musically, I tell you the truth, being older, it's funny to say it, but the Beatles were still an influence on me, and Elvis was an influence on me, and and different people over the years. I mean, I like the Who, the Stones, a lot of the old timers were what I grew up with. And there was a time when I liked Adam Ant.
Yeah.
Adam Ant was great. I liked his punkish style. I mean, I appreciated Prince and the things Prince did. I always used to think it was funny how people thought Prince was weird and Michael Jackson was okay. And then towards the end, it was Michael Jackson wasn't okay and Prince was okay. It's weird how people shift. I mean, I like the creativity of Rob Zombie.
Yep.
He does some cool things. Marilyn Manson does some cool things. Last show I went to was one of those Marilyn Manson and Rob Zombie shows, and I tell you, Marilyn just doesn't seem to have the energy he did when he was younger. But we're all getting older and don't have the energy either. Rob's still crazy as hell though, and he does a lot of great creative stuff. I like him for the movies. You know, he works on movies. He works on music. So they're all big influence. But at the core, it's still the Beatles and Elvis. I hate to say it,
And the Rolling Stones.
And the Rolling Stones.
They were.
I actually jumped the fence to go see the Rolling Stones.
I would too.
And but blues, I like blues. If you talk about a type of music, I like blues. A lot of things are blues. Jimi Hendrix was really blues. People don't realize that, but you know, blues are at the core of a lot of things, and I really like the blues. I've gotten more into country, and what I do with Joey Wells is more old fart country, I'd kind of call it.
Mm-hmm.
And but you know, so country's kind of become the easy listening, I think. It's become more like poppy easy listening, so I kind of like that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, so that's kind of it. I know. Oh, and I did like, who were we thinking about? Me and you were talking, Alice Cooper. I got to do, years ago when I used to do interviews, I had a really nice interview with Alice Cooper. And we talked about taking care of our parents and stuff. And I don't know what's up with Alice Cooper's mom. I think she probably finally passed. But when I talked to him, he was telling me about how, my mom was with me in a wheelchair at the time. And he was telling me how he built onto his house to take care of his mom. Mm-hmm. So, you know, you think out there, the rock and roll, but even your heroes in rock and roll, they go through the same stuff you do. Taking care of their parents, same problems with health and
if
life.
they live long enough to take care of their parents.
Well, Alice is kind of happy that he's been living because I guess he said his wife gave him an ultimatum one time. And a lot of the people, I've been to the Rainbow Room where they have the plaque on the wall for where they used to hang out. You know, him and Lennon and all of them, and a lot of them are dead now.
Mickey Dolenz.
Yeah.
They even had Anne Murray. Anne Murray, they took Alice's manager, Shep Gordon, was also Anne Murray's manager. And she was this real pretty thing from Canada that, I mean, you look at her like there's no way she would be associated with those people. But Shep was smart enough to know that if he could get a picture with Alice and John Lennon and Mickey Dolenz, and there's a couple others, that she would be considered guilty by association. And all he saw was dollar signs. And it worked, because 2 days later, Rolling Stone, once that picture was published, Rolling Stone magazine came calling for a cover interview, and a bunch of others. That's a true story.
Well, yeah, but like I said, he says if his wife hadn't given him an ultimatum, he might have gone the way of some of them.
Yeah.
So that's good. He's a good guy, though.
Oh, he's my biggest influence. Him and Ozzy.
Ozzy's still kicking.
Yeah, but Alice, man, you gotta. Anybody that doesn't like him there's something wrong with you. I mean,
There could be something you want to do. That could be on your bucket list. Play golf with Alice Cooper.
I actually worked on several golf courses that he played on, but I never played golf with him.
That would be
back
nice.
when I lived out in Arizona.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Okay, so we did your influences. Who do you think is your biggest inspiration? You know, that's a similar question, but it's different.
Biggest inspiration? Yeah, I'm going to jump to something different. I'll jump to Elon Musk, which some people might get mad at me about Elon, because not everybody likes him, but I like the fact that he's bold to do things that are different than other people and don't listen to what's possible and not possible. And I think that's a trait that's good to have no matter what you're in. Because even in the music industry, you have a lot of people that say you can't do things. And you just got to do them anyhow or have your own vision. So
and not worry about whether people are going to like you or not.
Exactly.
That's what he does.
Right. He pisses people off all the time. I tell people I'm an a-hole. But I'm an a-hole, but I'm, in my 60s. And you got to think about it this way. If I've lived this long and I'm this much of an a-hole, you might want to rethink it when you want to come at me. Because
that's
right?
for sure. That's for certain.
Same with you. You're not saying that you're an a-hole, but you're in your 60s too, and you're still here and kicking.
Yeah.
So there has to be something said for that.
Yep. All right. So, where would you like to see yourself in, say, 2 or 3 years from now, musically?
2 or 3 years from now would still be nice to be playing like the Whiskey A Go Go or playing the Viper Room. And I'd like to gather some friends I have even from here and travel out there and get some friends on the ticket that I know out there.
Yep.
And play those clubs. I've been to those clubs, but I've never played them. I've had some friends that played them, and to be honest, they did the pay to play to get to play them. And I don't really care if I'd have to do the pay to play.
No.
I'd be happy to do that. Take you with me, Jeff. We play the Whiskey A Go Go, play the Viper Room.
Because we're going to be working on some stuff.
There you go. Yep, we're working.
We're going to be working
music.
on some new stuff, and it's not to be underestimated.
Exactly. Maybe we won't have to pay to play. Maybe they'll actually pay us.
That could
pay
change.
us to play.
Everything in life. This is one thing the younger people need to know. Everybody. Everything in life happens in one day. You're born in one day. You die in one day. If you're lucky enough, you hit the lottery in one day. You get a dog in one day. You get married in one day. You have a baby in one day. And success and failure both come in one day. It's just a fact of life. And people that think, oh, that's never going to happen or that can't happen, that's just small, ignorant minds thinking stupid stuff.
Although the truth of the matter is, a lot of time to get to that one day, you put a lot of time in.
Yeah.
And you can't be afraid to put the time in. Because you have to put the time in.
Yep.
I mean, you've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this a long time. And sure, I didn't always do everything I'd like to. And every so often I still get an offer to go out and play with some friends. And last time it was just on too short a notice. But a couple years ago we did our, with 7th Layer, we did our 10th year reunion Never Again tour.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But recently it was some people from 7th Layer that asked me to come out and play with them again. So I don't know if it really was the 10 year Never Again tour. But maybe as a full band it was the Never Again tour.
We had 7th Layer open for us with 3 or 4 other bands out at the Hard Rock in Pittsburgh. Well, it was like 2010, 2008, somewhere in there. And then, I don't remember the other bands, but I remember...
We did that one, I know, up in Wilkes-Barre.
Yeah, that was a place
time.
called Rock Stars, which was terribly mismanaged. I'm not even going to say...
What did we have to do? Go jump up and down on our heads to get paid or something that day?
Yeah, we had to take it to the limit, and finally I just said, you got to go over there to that Mac machine and get us our money.
I think that was 7th Layer, you, and there was an all-woman band.
Kitty Whip from Altoona, all-girl band. They were good, man.
I did enjoy them. They were a hoot, like they said.
That Dawn Lavara, whatever. I've tried to get a hold of her, the lead guitar player. I tried to get a hold of her to do some. I was going to put together an all-girl band and manage it because there's a market for it. Trust me, there is.
It's interesting. There's a market for all-girl bands to do, be a tribute band to other men's bands. I've seen that.
I've seen that, but I'm not attracted to that.
You're not. I've seen a Motley Crue one that was pretty good, and I think they have a Kiss one out there. I think they had a Kiss one that wasn't called Kiss; it was called Smooch.
It was a very strange night.
We had some fun though. That was good though, but still, it was hard to get squeeze money out of them.
Yeah. Not only that, there was a bunch of. I can say it now because it's been so many years. Well, I'd rather not. I don't want to get into and say what. All I can say is our dressing room had stuff all over in it, in the sinks, on the floor. and I just don't want to say what it was, but it was pretty sad.
Was it the S word?
They were empty dope bags
Oh, dope bags. Okay.
everywhere.
Well, I think the people that, bad to say, but the people that were managing the place looked like they were probably doing it.
They were the ones doing it.
Yeah, exactly. But it was a good night. I remember we did get something out of it, and to make the rest of my band happy, I forgoed my share so I could give them more, and it made them happy. And sometimes you have to do that too. I mean, because to be honest with you, I was the one in the band that had a day job. Because some of the people don't have day jobs, so sometimes it fell to you to be the one that sacrificed for your art.
Yeah. So, what stuff do you have coming up in the, within the next couple months?
A couple of months, me and you are working on some music.
We are.
I sent you some song ideas, and usually the same way I work with me and Joey Wells have another song coming out like Do a Run, Doodah Run, I can't think it's called, and with Joey Wells, who's the keyboardist for Bill Haley and the Comets, I write lyrics for him, and then he tweaks them and records them. Sometimes I do backgrounds, sometimes I don't. And we had gotten a Grammy nomination for one of the songs. We've had our second album out, me and him, that just came out recently. It's called Satisfied Man, which is after our title track. And before we had an album out called Two Heads Are Better Than One. And but upcoming, me and you working on songs. Me and you are going to be on the cover of PA Musician coming up, so that'll be great.
Cool, awesome.
So they can read and see us, and once you get a cover like that, they're going to be probably wanting to blow it up and put it on their ceilings, so they can see it all the time with me and you. But that's I have that coming up, and
I wouldn't mind putting together a band and going out there and playing places in California.
I'd like
That
to
would
do
be
that.
before we get it off our bucket list.
Depending on who, what money I have at the time too, it might be fun to take some. I was thinking it'd be nice to try and get maybe like Shay Quinn to go with us, and maybe like Deuce Gibb, but that would cost us some money to get them to want to do it. But once we go to California, see, they would be good, I think, to play here locally in Harrisburg because they have a following.
Yep.
But if we go out there, we'd probably have to try and pick some people from out there. I have some friends from out there.
I do. I am pretty connected out there.
Because you want to have them on to get the gathering of their people.
Yep.
And so if we played there, we might not want people like that on it. Not saying that there's anything wrong. Those are great guys.
Yeah.
Shay's been at it a long time, and Deuce is a great guy. I really like Deuce. And but that would be fun to do, but I don't know when that's going to happen. And like we were talking earlier about health issues, and you don't know what's going to happen to your health either. Well, since we're both in our 60s, you don't know what tomorrow holds. And like you said, things happen in one day.
And when it pops up, it's like you either deal with it or you don't.
I'm always afraid we'll win the lottery and the next day we'll be dead.
That's like that line from Alanis Morissette in that song, Ironic. He hit the lottery and died the next day. Another dude went for a plane ride, crashed down,
But hopefully my family could get the money, and that would be important to me.
Yeah.
So that would be. But yeah, I hope stuff like that. I'm looking forward to us working on the songs, being on the cover, and telling people about what we're working on at the time, and seeing where it leads. I mean, hopefully it leads somewhere. If it doesn't, it'll just be a great experience, which is fulfilling in itself. Not everything has to be a field goal. Sometimes it's nice just getting your
extra points.
You getting your extra points, or even just making up your yardage.
2-point conversion.
It's good just to get your yardage in sometimes.
Yeah. So, do you have websites or pages that you'd like to send people to? Directly?
Sure, I still have oshradio.com, except OSH Radio now is basically a news and music news site. It's a little different than it used to. Every day it comes up with different articles and stuff. But if you still want to see the old version, you can go to oshradio.com/old, and there'll be old links in there and links to my old magazine, The Ragazine, if you remember.
Yes, sir.
I had you in an issue, all dedicated to White Witch.
Yep.
And bad thing is the old version had a lot of flash players on it, and they don't work anymore. The flash players kind of went away.
Yeah.
But I have some blogs too, crazyjohnkerecz.com, johnkerecz.com. I don't really update them as much as I want. I don't know, just writing things for blogs just kind of gets boring to me after a while.
Yeah.
Where some people are really into it. But I have my YouTube page, OSH Radio, YouTube OSH Radio, and that has a lot of, I'm always putting different kinds of interviews on there. Some are political. I was a presidential candidate in that last election for the Transhumanist Party, which is a science-based party, worried about longevity and health and science. And I was a what do you want to call it, pre-election president. I didn't get their nomination for the actual person, but I was in the running. I came in like third. So I have some interviews with transhumanists. I have some music interviews. Last night I did an interview with a martial artist from Australia. And yesterday I also did an interview with a musician, Chris Nelson out of Lebanon that I've known for a long time also. So I'm still doing those on and off. Sometimes it's catch as catch can. Sometimes you haven't seen anything for like 6 months. And then all of a sudden I pop up with a bunch of them because it depends on availability of people too.
Yep.
And that's a rough thing. So I'm still working on that. Those are the main places you can find out what I'm doing. Or just search on my name. I work on movie projects. So if you go to IMDb page and put in my name, John Kerecz, you'll find all kinds of crazy projects I do. Like I always loved the one movie I was involved with, which was called Werewolves in Heat. And Ron Jeremy had a bit part in that. So some of them are funny. Toxic Tutu was a great movie. That was a mockumentary. And you can see that on Amazon. And Amityville Bigfoot, Amityville Turkey or whatever, Amityville Karen, those are all movies too I've worked on.
Cool. So, I have a nice new shirt for you.
Is it in jumbo?
It's XL.
That probably can squeeze in.
Think you can fit in it?
Sure.
Anyway, so that's what we got for today. We're going to take a little break here, and John is going to interview me outside in the sun. We're going to go outside. Yeah.
That way, because he's, his nickname is Sunny, because he's so bright.
Yeah, that's good. So anyways, we're going to keep moving along here, and don't forget to check out John's stuff, all the places that he told you to go. And also you can check out on the Pipeline page and my page, because I'll be posting some neat things about him. And me.
I don't believe everything, even though it's probably true.
So we want to thank everybody out there. Have a great one.
Thank you. Thank you for the opportunity, Jeff.
You're welcome.